Hello everyone. First of all, I have a cold, that's why I sound this way. Today, I'm going to speak on something I speak on quite often, but I think it's really beneficial for podcasters and YouTubers to reiterate certain points and say it in different ways, because if other podcasters and YouTubers and teachers didn't do that, I would not have learnt a lot of things, because sometimes we need to hear things in different ways to really get the message. And this is an extremely important one that when you see it, you can't unsee it. I say that all the time. But when you get it, okay? You'll see how you literally can't unsee it once you do. And we're going to talk about how life hands you your triggers on a platter when you don't heal what is dying to be healed, what is screaming at you to be healed inside. Have you ever met somebody, or maybe you're this person, where you just feel like life hates you? Where everything just seems to go wrong all the time? Where when something really bad happens and you think it literally couldn't possibly get worse, it always gets worse. Maybe you're that person, like I said, or maybe you know that person. Now, life is not unbiased, and life works in certain ways, and it's out of love. And this may seem like, why do some people who go through the worst pain ever seem to go through so much more extreme pain after? That doesn't seem fair. How can that be out of love? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. If you're a parent, or just imagine you're a parent if you're not, and you see a child who is suffering really bad, and you see the child maybe has some crippling anxiety and is struggling their way through life, and you know that the solution to helping that child is not through pushing aside every possible pain, it's not through making sure that they avoid any potential problems in life. You know that the way to help them is actually through helping them experience and face it so that they can feel better. Now, I'm not saying that this is how we need to parent. What I'm saying is, if you were a parent and you knew that that was the solution for the child, that the only way they could overcome the suffering that they're going through right now is for them to suffer a little bit more, to face the pain, to face the trigger, to face the thing that they're afraid of, so that when they face it, feel it, they process it, and they see it differently, and they never experience it again. If you were a parent who knew that, would you do that for your child? Would you allow some temporary discomfort for the child, knowing that the child will feel so much better after, that the child will not be holding on to that anxiety, onto that fear, onto that wound anymore, if they had to temporarily face a little bit more of the pain? Would you do that for the child if you loved them? Yes, you would. Because you would know that that temporary pain is so much better than a life of living that same pain. Now, why do I give this analogy? I give this analogy because that's what happens to us. When we have a wound that we are walking around with, when we have the father wound, when we have the abandonment wound, when we have money wound, when we have some sort of wound that we're walking around with that's making us suffer in some sort of way in life, then we will receive situations in life to feel that wound. That wound will get poked at because we are loved. Because the Creator knows if the wound is poked at, we will see the wound, we will feel the wound, and we will have the opportunity to get rid of the wound because of the awareness we have of it. What happens if we get the wound poked at, but we don't see it and we don't do anything about it, and we just feel the pain of it? Well, then we feel the pain of the wound, we get triggered. And then what happens if it happens again, but we don't listen again? We feel the pain again, and then again, and then again, and again. And this is the person I was talking about in the beginning. The person who keeps re-experiencing pains in life that make you look at them and think they are a really unlucky person. What if it's not that they're really unlucky, but they keep re-experiencing their wound being poked at, but not healing it? And because they're loved, the wound keeps getting poked at so that they have the opportunity again and again and again to finally heal it, so they don't have to live their entire life with this wound and suffering from the wound, and then potentially passing that wound on to their child and creating this generational cycle that's not ending until the child or someone in the family decides to see the wound, recognize it, and heal it. It's for our good. But from the outside in, it looks like a whole mess. Okay, so here's the thing. When the wound is poked at, it will start with a poke, but the longer we don't listen, the more painful it becomes. Now, what does this actually look like in our life? I so often give the example of relationships because it's the one we most commonly see, the one we're most familiar with, I should say. You know, you have the father wound, you have the mother wound, whatever feeling you got as a child from that wound, the feeling of abandonment, the feeling of being out of control, whatever feeling it is, that feeling is going to show up again in life through another partner, through another situation, through another circumstance that brings up the exact same feeling of the wound that you got as a child. And so we so often see this with people. They get in this toxic relationship that brings up so much pain, and it brings up all these feelings of unworthiness, all these feelings of abandonment, and maybe one day they have the strength to say, you know what, enough is enough. And maybe their ego is like, I can do better, I'm worth more. And you know, if it's coming from ego, then it's not true. It's not true. It's this temporary confidence that you're getting. It's this temporary boost of energy to be like, you know, enough is enough. I can do better. I'm worth more. And if it's not from your true self, if it's not from your soul, it's not from your actual knowing that you are worthy and you are enough, then what will happen is you still have the wound inside of you. And because you have the wound, guess what? It's going to get poked again. So maybe you go back to that same partner 10 times, you go back and forth for the next 7 years. We see that all the time. Or if you don't do that, then you will get into a relationship that pokes the exact same wound, that brings up the exact same feeling of abandonment, the exact same feeling of unworthiness in another person. Why? Because it needs to be poked for you to see. But say, what happens to that person who's in that next relationship or back again with that partner, or in the circumstance? It may not even be a relationship. It could be something going on in your family, in your job, in your friendships. Something happens that pushes on the wound, that brings up the exact same feeling of unworthiness again and again and again. But what happens when we heal it in the circumstance this time, in the new relationship this time? What happens if we heal it? When we heal it, the situation falls away on its own. It falls away. If that partner is there for the purpose of triggering your wound to make you into a better person, to have a better life, you heal the wound, there is no longer a need for the trigger. So the relationship falls away. The family issue that's coming up and intensifying as days go on, that is there to trigger the wound, will fall away on its own. The friendship issue will fall away on its own. It has to fall away on its own because there's no longer a purpose for it. You're not getting triggered, feeling unworthy because of the thing your partner did. No, you healed it. You know you're worthy. That doesn't bother you anymore. That doesn't make you feel the shame anymore. You've healed it. And when you heal it, it's like, she learnt her lesson. She learnt. She healed it. It's gone. It's no longer going to be passed down to her children, his children. It's no longer going to be this component of her life that's dragging her down. Okay, she healed it. The wound is healed. There's no longer a purpose for that relationship, for that circumstance. It will fall away on its own. So it's really, really fascinating. So I don't want you to trick yourself, please. If you felt a really, really, really familiar feeling in your last relationship or this last really triggering circumstance, ask yourself, what is this feeling? Is this a wound? Is this something I've had since I was a child, or since my first relationship, or since my first traumatic experience? Is this a wound? And yes, I may have left the circumstance, but did I heal it? Did I recognize it? Did I see it? Or did I just gain this false sense of confidence to leave because I got so angry inside and now it's still there? And you'll see it's going to come back in some sort of way, but when it comes back, if you don't do the healing now, when it comes back, see it for what it is. It's a mirror. It's all a mirror. It's a mirror to show you the pain inside of you so that you no longer have to live the pain, because your parent loves you. God loves you. God doesn't want you to suffer. God doesn't want you to pass this to your kids. God doesn't want that for you. So God has to show you it. Bring up some temporary pain so that you don't have to live with it anymore. It's out of love. Okay? It's out of love. So how do we heal this? The biggest step ever you can make towards healing is recognizing. Instead of poor me, poor me, poor me, I only attract the worst men ever, my family's the most toxic ever. Instead of that, you say, it's a mirror. This is a mirror to my wound. Amazing. Okay, you don't have to say amazing and be all optimistic during these really triggering moments. That's near to impossible, but see it for what it is. Look in the mirror. Recognize the patterns from the past. What is the feeling? What is the wound? Okay, we don't need to know exactly where the wound came from. We don't need to know all the details. We need to know what the feeling is. What is it bringing up in your body? What does it make you think about yourself? Okay, what is it? Face it. Look it in the mirror. See it for what it is. Recognize that you have it. That right there is majority of the work, is seeing it. Okay? When we see it, we can say we're no longer available for it. We can create such an intense shift in our mind because we're finally allowing ourselves to see it. That shift can be enough to never experience it again because you are no longer available for it. When the feeling comes up, you say, no, not today. I am no longer available to feel shame. I know I am worthy now. It may feel so unfamiliar in the beginning, but everything feels unfamiliar in the beginning until we do it enough to make it become familiar. Okay, and then there are times we have to feel to heal. So if we have a wound from a traumatic moment, we have to feel the pain of that traumatic moment to release it, process it, and heal it, and then have the ability to have the mindset shift to say, not today, enough is enough. I'm no longer available for this. This is no longer a part of who I am. I no longer want to feel that shame. I no longer want to relive the pain. I no longer want that. I no longer think I'm unworthy. I no longer have to run. I no longer have to feel out of control. I'm completely in control, okay, of this circumstance right now. So we have to feel the pain of it. We have to process it. And if you need help with that, that's understandable. That's completely understandable. You don't need to do this alone. If you want coaching, I can help you through EFT. I can help you through emotional processing. If you want therapy, go to a therapist who knows about the nervous system and emotional processing, not a therapist who's just going to, want to talk and talk and talk. That's great for the beginning, but if you're on my channel, you want to get through this. You want to overcome this. You want to process and get to another side. So find somebody who can help you process if you need to. Research EFT, research breath work, do some meditation, or find somebody who knows these things and can teach you, okay? Do the processing enough to have the ability to shift your mind to be like, never again. Never again. Never again. I was reliving the wounds because I wasn't seeing it as the wound. I'm no longer available to feel that feeling again. I don't give attention. I don't feed into it. I don't feed the fire of shame. I don't feed the fire of fear anymore. It's a wound I'm no longer available for. And life really, really, really minimizes the things that we no longer feed into. And when I say feed, I mean using your emotional state. If it's heightened, you're feeding the crap out of the fire. You're putting so many sticks and cardboard and whatever fuel you need to make a fire bigger when you have a heightened emotional state. When you have this calm emotional state that we can only get from processing and feeling first, which doesn't have to take forever, I talk about this all the time. When we have a calm state, when we think of the feeling that used to come up for us all the time, like shame and fear and not being enough and scarcity and all these things that used to be our wound in the past, when we get triggered by it again and we have an emotional state, maybe it's heightened initially, of course you're a human, and then we say, no, I'm not going to feed it, I'm going to feel neutral, I'm going to feel indifferent about the circumstance. I'm not going to amplify the feeling, and I'm not going to get riled up and start talking about it and start yelling about it and start doing all these things that bring me to a really heightened state, because you're feeding the fire when you do that. And when you feed the fire burns, and it continues to burn as long as you feed it. If you're like, no, not today, I'm not available, this is no longer a part of my identity, this is no longer who I am, the fire has to go away because you're not feeding it anymore. The fire has to go out. I promise you this. It's a law of life. It has to fade away on its own. The fire has to go away. It has to, when we no longer feed it. Alright. I always like getting these really intense modes. I'm very passionate when I coach and when I speak about these things, and then after, when I like switch off, my my shoulders go down and my body gets lighter because I'm no longer in this really intense coaching mode. I'm just very passionate, that's all I have to say. I always end it with, alright. You can probably hear how calm my body is after. Oh, it's so funny. No, I love my passion though. I love that I have this drive for what I do. Okay. I really hope this helped you. Oh, I'm excited for the person that this is going to help. I hope it helps at least one person. I don't care if it's 1 or 1,000 though. If it just helps one, I will seriously be so happy, because life dramatically changes when we understand this, and it's amazing. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video, the next podcast. Hope you enjoyed. Any information you need can be found on my website, and which is disruptyournorm.com, by the way. And I will see you guys next time. Okay, bye guys.